What's up, Dragon Brood? Now, we're about, 4 days or so into playing with all this Alchemy Innistrad stuff. And, some opinions are being more developed now than where they were when they first started. And, we put out that video that had 22 suggestions for Arena in about 22 minutes. And, I think we have one more. After having played with Innistrad, or Alchemy Innistrad, whatever we're calling it, I think I have one that would help people quite a bit, and honestly I think it would just be a good one for Arena, so let's hop into it and talk about it. Alright, first things first, I want to just go ahead and, we'll go ahead and poke the elephant that's in the room, or beat the dead horse, or whatever you want to call it. Yes, wildcards, we would love to have more wildcards back. Honestly, I still stand by the fact that if a card is changed for any reason, you should get wildcards back for it. Mostly because you many times build decks around certain cards, or those cards you craft end up being key cards for those decks, and not everybody has the resources to just go, make another 4 or 5 wildcards to do whatever and build their next deck. And it doesn't hurt the economy, it doesn't hurt Wizards' pocketbook. I mean, not, maybe, but not realistically to just give people those back. Like, yeah, sure, it is nice already that anytime they change a card, we're going to get both versions for free. That's great, but that doesn't change if maybe you don't want to play a certain deck now, right? Or a card was a pivotal part of the deck and now it's just not as good. Or the card just doesn't do what it does before the same way, right? Like, who knows? There'll be a bunch of different reasons you may not want to play the same deck or the same cards or whatever whenever a card gets nerfed. So let's at least consider Wizards giving just wild cards back for that. If for nothing else, like, that's it. And if a card gets banned or suspended, yes, suspended, wild cards as well, because you can't play with it, so you might as well just give the cards back. And technology is smart enough to know if you already gave people cards because it's suspended, then whenever it goes banned, you just don't get the wild cards again, right? Like, we should be able to do that. Okay, so we've had the talk about wild cards. That's out the way. But here's another idea. What if you could try before you buy? I know, sounds crazy, right? But hear me out. We already have the ability to give people basically all access accounts, right? Where you can play with every single card. We know that's a thing. So how about every time a set comes out, you get a bank of time. We'll call the time 2 hours worth. So 120 minutes, right? You get a 120-minute timer that runs anytime you go into the Sparky queue with a deck where you don't own all the cards. So you could build a deck that is missing 3 or 4 cards. You can go into the queue with Sparky, and then you can play that deck. Your timer starts. And for as long as you want to mess with those cards in that deck in there, the timer ticks. When you stop, you have time left. So if you want to try different decks, you want to, see different card combos or whatever, great. You have an opportunity to do it. And here's the reason I'm pitching this. There's cards so far that we've seen in just this iteration of Alchemy, pardon my French, but they have I'll just say a crap ton of words on them. Even some that when we were doing review, it took reading them like 3, 4, 5 times sometimes to understand what they did. So there's no way that every single player, or especially the average player, is just going to understand a lot of these cards right off the bat. So without them having to go watch a couple of videos or read some extra articles or copy a deck list or whatever, they're not really going to be in the right direction sometimes. They might even craft cards that don't work the way they think they work. And then that's going to be a real disappointment. So why not have the option to say, hey, I put these in a deck, let's go try them out. Oh, those don't work the way I expected they work. Great. I didn't waste the wild cards on them. Now I could build something else. And you're still just playing against Sparky, so it's not like you're getting the full interactive game experience or anything. You're not devaluing other parts of Arena. You're just saying like, hey, if you need to test a card, here's a spot you can do it. That would also make Arena stand out from other games because, to my knowledge, I don't know other games that have this feature. So this would be cool to have here. Now, maybe 120 minutes, maybe it's 90 minutes, maybe it's 60 minutes. At least 60 minutes. It can't be less than that. I would really push for at least 90 minutes if we could do it. But really, it basically becomes a try before you buy type thing, right? We can't be that mad at that, can we? Like, seriously, this feels like an idea that should get traction. Or am I crazy? Anyway, y'all let me know in the comments how absurd this idea is, how great this idea is, but I think it solves a lot of problems, especially if we're going to be in a world where we don't get wildcards back for stuff. Like, you can at least have a little bit of security on spending cards in the first place. Granted, that doesn't give you the protection from them being changed in the future, but it at least means the initial cards you craft work the way you want, the deck does what you want. Why not? Let's go for it. I don't know, this seems like a cool idea, but y'all tell me. As always, please remember, consider joining the channel, like, subscribe, share, all that wonderful stuff. That's all I have for you for now. We'll see you next time.